Today we're discussing the woman at the well. I love her story because we have so much detail in it. It's the most detail-encountered story, or the story of the most detail that we have of a woman encountering Jesus. Honestly, of most people that encounter Jesus. And it's the most background we have of a woman who's encountering Jesus. We know exactly who she is. We can hear her words and we can see her heart. But what we hear and what we see are a woman that's weary and battered and beaten down, told by the world that she wasn't worthy. Her people are Jews. The Samaritans were Jews who had been descendants of Israelites in the northern kingdom. But when the northern kingdom was taken over, their people had assimilated more into the non-Jewish culture, and so they had their own version of the Pentateuch. They had their own temple at Mount Gerizim, which she will talk about, and they even had their own Israelite history. And so to the rest of the Jewish world, they were seen as not Jewish, but in their hearts they were Jewish. But she comes from this people that considered themselves to be Jews, but the rest of the Jews tell them they're not worthy to worship the same God. She is a woman who, in the aftermath of her life choices and events, feels unworthy to mingle with the others in her community. And so she daily drags her weary heart to the well in the heat of the day just to be alone. And then so on this day, she's coming and there's a man there where she wants to be alone. And it's not just any man that's disrupting her ritual, it's a Jewish man. And it's just a reminder to her of everything that makes her less than. She just wants to get her water. She just wants to go home. But this man wants to have a conversation. And his conversation doesn't even make sense. He's speaking in riddles about water, and you can almost hear it in her voice. Sir, you don't even have a bucket. Sir, give me this water then. Sir, you are certainly a prophet. But then the thorn in her side, even if what you were saying were true, I don't qualify. Your people have said so. Your people have said that what was good enough for our fathers isn't good enough for us. You can almost hear it. Sir, let me get back to my work and my not husband. But the most remarkable part of this exchange, this wordplay, this banter between her and Jesus, is something we can't even see in English. In verse 20, this woman says in the ESV, "Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship." Now, it should be noted that when she says "you say," it's a plural "you." It's not one "you." She's actually not literally just pointing her finger at Jesus, saying "you yourself." She's saying "you and everybody that you represent. All of your people have said this, that we ought to worship in Jerusalem." The phrase "ought to" is just one single little Greek word. It's "day," and it means it is necessary. And both the phrases "on this mountain" and "in Jerusalem" use another Greek word which means "en." So "en" is for both of them. She's saying both of our ancestors, my ancestors and your ancestors, worshipped in this mountain. And now you say that in Jerusalem is the place where it is necessary, day, to worship. In other words, look, by your own rules, I don't qualify. You and the people you represent have said so. So why are we even having this conversation? Jesus answers her, and I imagine him gentle yet firm in the same voice that he speaks to Mary Magdalene in the garden at the tomb when she's distraught and upset, saying, "Where have you taken him?" And he just says, "Mary." And in that moment, she recognizes his voice and she knows that it's him. I hear that same tone of voice here. A time is coming when neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem will all of you worship. And again, it's not just the one you, not just you, woman at this well, you all, your people. You all will worship neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. So if it's not here and it's not there, then where? In spirit and in truth. In spirit and in truth. But wait, back up. The time isn't just coming, because they've been waiting for a long time. They've been waiting. The Israelite people know nothing but waiting. They waited in the desert, and they're waiting for a Messiah, and it's been hundreds of years of waiting. And he's saying, it's not just coming anymore, but now it's here. That anyone who is worshiping God in spirit and in truth is a true worshiper. It's now that God is seeking these people. Seeking, it's the Greek word zeteo. It literally means seeking. It doesn't mean he just wants it. He is seeking it. It can also mean he's ordering it. But even if he's ordering it, what he's ordering isn't worship in Jerusalem, in a temple. He's ordering and seeking people who are worshiping in spirit and in truth. Not in Samaria, not in Jerusalem, not in the temple, in their spirit. And then going into verse 24, he drives it home in case it's not clear, in case you didn't hear what I just said. God is spirit. He's not flesh and blood. He's not dwelling on this mountain. He's not dwelling in Jerusalem. He is spirit, and the only place it is necessary to worship is in spirit and in truth. He gives her the exact same wording. She said, in Jerusalem, it is necessary to worship. And he mirrored it back, in spirit and truth, it is necessary to worship. And suddenly, the hardness of her heart, the walls that she had built up to protect her from everyone who told her she was not worthy, they began to crumble, slowly at first, just a pebble at a time, and fragments chipping off. Could this be true? She'd been told she was unacceptable to God and to Jews, to her community. Could it be that God would accept her? But wait. It sounds good, but this man is a prophet. As she shakes away the glimmer of hope in her eye, the enemy continues to whisper in her ear, he doesn't actually know. It's the age-old voice that we saw in Eden, when he spoke to Eve, when he said, did God actually say? She shakes her head and draws back to reality, back to this well, back to this earthly water, back to her undying, unquenchable thirst for acceptance. It couldn't be true. I know Messiah is coming, and when he comes, he will tell us all things. What you say sounds nice, but the Messiah will tell us what's true. He will be able to settle this matter, and he'll know. I don't qualify. And then Jesus declares in the same words God spoke to Moses in the Old Testament, ego eimi, I am the one speaking to you. I am. You can almost see her mouth drop open as she stands there slack-jawed, mouth agape, mind worrying. Is it possible? The Messiah, the one promised to rescue the people of God, here in the land of people told they did not qualify, that they didn't count, talking to her, a woman of questionable background, telling her it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your background is, or your nationality, your preferred style of worship, or the questionable lifestyle you've been living into this point. None of it disqualifies you if you only come to God in the quietness of your spirit, in truth and in sincerity, you are acceptable to God. He knows everything I've ever done, she thought to herself. And he says, I am acceptable. And in that moment, her unquenchable desire for acceptance was quenched. She thirsted no more. She feared no more. And when the disciples came in a frustrating moment to interrupt what was happening, she didn't say another word. She didn't have anything left. For every argument Jesus had made to this point, she had something else. But now she had nothing. She ran, no longer afraid of her community, but hurrying to tell all of them, all of the unqualified ones, what was told to her. God welcomes the outcasts, the hurting, the broken, the weary, the ones who just want to hide and have never found acceptance, the ones who cry out in desperation. He doesn't just welcome them, he's looking for them. He's looking for the ones praying in their closets to get a moment of peace. He's looking for the ones who are laid stripped and bare, who say, I have nothing, I am nothing. But what I have, what I am, is yours. These are the ones who worship in spirit and in truth, and these are the ones he is seeking. It's you, it's me, it's a lonely, forgotten woman at an ancient well in Samaria. He sees her, he is seeking her, and he's seeking us if we are worshiping in spirit and in truth. Let's worship him.